mis criaturas. You're back for part 3. Well, I shan't keep you waiting. The drive to my grandmother's house passed large expanses of orchards and fields. The valley that I live in is very flat, but grows many things. I remembered this trip from the passenger seat of my mother's car. She always took the same route. I had committed it to memory. It was an hour drive, but that worked in my favor in this case. It helped me convince Mama that I needed to spend the night. And I did need to spend the night. The house was almost exactly the way I remembered. Aside from the overgrown yard and the years of deterioration from neglect, the house loomed over me as it always had, the windows taking their fill after all these years. My stomach rumbled. The evening sun at my back ushered me towards the door, beyond which a make-do picnic of takeout awaited me. I reached for my bags, containing both clothes and food, before heading inside. I was surprised it wasn't more dusty, considering only a handful of family members stopped by every few months over the years to check on the place and clean a little, so it didn't feel so abandoned. I quickly surveyed each room, making sure that everything had remained undisturbed before quickly cleaning a spot at the kitchen table and sitting down to my already cold burger and fries. I took a bite, and the house groaned and creaked around me as I chewed. It didn't take long for the sun to set. I unrolled my sleeping bag and laid it on my grandparents' bed. My stomach wove itself into knots, eluding rest from me for some time. I tried to stare at the ceiling and ignore the yips of the coyotes outside, but as time passed, it sounded as though they were getting closer to the house. I swung off the bed and reached for a flashlight, hoping to scare away any that might be near the house. But when I opened the front door, a stillness overtook me, and I knew in that moment I was utterly alone in that house. Almost. The sound of my cousin's voice made lightning crack in my chest, my name weaving through the house, and I knew exactly where the thread was falling from. I turned and walked barefooted towards the stairs, the thunderous beats of my heart chasing after the lightning that struck me there. Miguel? I called. Miguel? ¿Eres tú? Silence was my answer. Miguel? I tried again as I inched forward. Miguel, is it? I looked up the stairs the moment I arrived at them. The silhouette looked down at me, and my eyes sharpened as the fear ran through my veins. He looked the same. Thin, arrugado, con greñas, and the smile and the wide eyes were exactly the same as I remembered. He stared at me. I could tell he was looking directly at me. Miguel took one step towards me. I felt my entire body shake, and I looked up at the ceiling. I kept staring at it while I shook, until I sat up in the bed, the sleeping bag still wrapped around me. I gasped for breath until I registered the hand that still clung to my arm, and the person standing next to me. I think at first I wanted to believe it was my primo, sent by my mother to check on me and spend the night. I remember telling myself it was him, even as I stared back into the empty sockets of my abuelito. I lurched away, but before I could even scream, he was gone. And I was alone in that house. Well, almost.